Hi, this is Bill Walton, founder of creatingyourbest.com and author of Creating Your Best Life, which is now an international Amazon international bestseller. So thankful for all of you for making that happen. As we continue to go week after week, we're answering. Our goal is to answer the questions that really this book really at its core answers, and that really is, how do I create my best life? And so we're addressing some of the most common asked questions that we receive. And we started last week. In answering the question, is it really possible to change the way I think? And you can go back and quickly review that if you will. But at the bottom of what we really talked about was the answer is yes. And it's also you must. Proverbs 27 says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And this is really talking about mankind in general. So it's as you think, that really becomes the reality of who you are. So we addressed last week about how understanding first, how is it that our thoughts of what we think about life, about money, about relationships, all of these things, how did that happen? Well, in early childhood development, you learn that typically before age 7, children are operating in a brainwave mental wavelength called theta, which really allows for the programming of the subconscious. Okay, and theta is really where the mind really operates in this imaginative state. And that's why the Jesuits have an expression, give me a boy until they're 7 and I will show you the man. It's because they're able in that time frame, if the right components are built in during that time, well, that's what the man will be. All right, 90 to 95% of the subconscious of what ends up being the realities of what most people live in was programmed in as a child before age 7. So understanding that often a lot of the things that you're dealing with, what I think about relationships, or what I think about people, or what I think about success or money or church or God or any of that, so much of that was set in place as an early child. But then our own experiences, you find, often just reiterate and reestablish that. Now, I'm not discounting that other experiences happen, because they do. I'm just saying that 90% of a person's behavior, subconscious, for the average person, most of that is all built in early childhood. Well, so understanding that is important. All right. But now what do I do about that? How do I change the way I think? If it's so critical that I do change the way I think, how do I do it? Well, there's really 2 proven techniques that have been found to work in establishing that subconscious and changing and altering the way I think, because as I think, so am I, right? And I talked about in all the 20 plus years of research that I had done, the most successful leaders in industry, the most influential people that have whether it be faith leaders, community leaders, all of them have these some very shared attributes, one of which is that they really know they've got to focus in and work on what they think, right? And most of them, if not all of them, spend 30 minutes or so at least on a daily basis imagining, thinking intentionally on what it is that they want to accomplish, what it is their goals are, their objectives, and they envision themselves reaching those goals. Well, that's not accidental. There's a reason why. There are 2 primary ways of hacking, if you will, or going into the subconscious and changing that and changing the way I think. The first one is repetition. All right. Daily repetitions, right, of factual truth type things that are different, if you will, in the way that I am thinking about things. And the second is imagination. All right, actively, because imagination, when I go into imagination, I operate in theta, right? Which then reopens that subconscious, allowing the subconscious to be reprogrammed. So let's talk about the first one, which is repetition. All right. Now, I cover this in the opening chapters of the book, Creating Your Best Life. When I was at that point in crossroads where my business just was not working, and I said, Lord, show me where I'm missing it. And as I prayed, I came up out of my body, and I saw my angels standing around me with this extremely bored look on their face, right? And this began this journey of now over 2 decades of seeking after, searching for the areas that most people miss it in creating their best life. And the instruction that I received in that moment was that on a daily basis, the Lord told me on a daily basis, go over, repeat constantly Deuteronomy chapter 28, the first 14 verses, which is the declaration of what is the blessing of God. You know, a lot of people say, God bless you, or, you know, I'm just blessed. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean to have God's blessing? You will find that in Deuteronomy 28 in those first 14 verses. And I'll give you a portion of it. He says, empowered to prosper will you be in the city, and empowered to prosper will you be in the field. It's the word blessed, right? It means empowered to prosper. It says your family will be blessed. Your children will be blessed. Your businesses will be blessed. You'll be the head and not the tail. You'll be above only and never beneath. You'll be a lender and not a borrower. Your the multiplication of those businesses will be empowered. On and on and on it goes in all of those verses. And what the Lord told me to do is, Bill, personalize that for your life, your family, your business. Write it out and personalize it. And we walk that through in your creation sequence in teaching you how to do that. But that daily activity of rehearsing God's blessing on my life completely changed for me. Because of that, once again, that repetition that was going into my mind that began to alter programmings that had been in place from the time I was very, very young. And so repetition is that first piece. The last part is that imagination. And I'll challenge you, as you personalize and read through Deuteronomy 28 on a daily basis, imagining when the Lord says you are the head and not the tail. And what does that mean? That means that you're going to always be at the top. Envision yourself in your industry, envision in your marriage, envision in your family, being at the top, not the bottom, right? Envisioning yourself. That, once again, that blessing of the Lord comes through a relationship with Jesus Christ. That relationship, in Galatians chapter 3, it says, Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is every man who hangs on a tree, so that the blessing of Abraham might come upon the Gentiles. That's the non-Jews. That's all of us. That blessing of Abraham, it is yours through a relationship with Jesus Christ. But getting that blessing, rehearsing that blessing, imagining yourself in that will completely alter and change the way your thinking is. And as a person thinks, so are they. Create your best life.